Okay, so now I'm going to do the economic section. So page 16 of the '09 first edition. Quote, in general, the market is smarter than the smartest of its individual participants. So he actually has taken this from a Bartley book is called 7 Fat Years and How to Do It Again. So this point is important because it's supposed to see the market as a many individuals making decisions, and the market is the overall effect of those decisions. And its point is that individuals are one individual is far less intelligent than the entire market, or thus all of the people making decisions. And why this is important is because I guess it's an attack on central planning. Such as Soviet Russia, very few individuals were trying to make prices for everything. And they could not benefit from the intelligence, the knowledge, especially the knowledge of the context of each individual, the kind of life that an individual lives, what kind of things are going on in their life, how much money do they have to spend on certain things, what their own interests are, if they're productive or unproductive with their money. All those kinds of things factor into a person's decision. And to get rid of all those decisions and to have a few people make decisions is disastrous, as I think is history. I think history has, I think the experiment's over with central planning. I think it's done. And I think the market, or millions of decisions made a day on what to buy, I think that is far a better ideal than having a few people in an office building making decisions. They will never get even close to the intelligence of these, perhaps the summation, the addition of all those individual people in a society making decisions for themselves in their own lives. So that's the point of that quote, I think. Now, page 43 of the '09 edition, first edition. Quote, productivity and merit are very different things. An individual raised in terrible home conditions or terrible social conditions may be laudable for having become an average, decent citizen with average work skills as a shoe repairer, while someone raised from birth with every advantage that money and social position can confer may be no more laudable for becoming an eminent brain surgeon. But that is wholly different from saying that repairing shoes is just as valuable to others as being able to repair maladies of the brain. The main point is that just because a person has ended up in a certain position does not mean that they are not doing difficult work, work that few others can do, work that is in demand, and therefore are of a different value to society. So his point is that just because a person, because of their environment, has led to their more productive or more highly regarded outcomes, such as being a brain surgeon versus a shoemaker, that doesn't make the jobs equal, because a person perhaps has not had to do as much work to get to those positions. They are not of the same value. Even consider the education or the time that a person has to take to become a brain surgeon versus a shoemaker. That time is an investment in a richer future, perhaps. So that's his point. They're not equal. Just because the conditions to get to that position can be argued that, well, a person that was a brain surgeon had a lot of things in line for him, a lot of things in line, and thus no wonder he became a brain surgeon. Versus the person living in more difficult circumstances, no wonder they entered the labor class. That's less important than, that does not make the jobs equal. So quote, so now page 106 from the '09 edition. Quote, How India and China managed to raise the living standards of many millions of poor people may be in part because it was done by moving away from the kinds of economic policies long favored by the left. So I'm pretty sure that very recently, perhaps in the last 10 years, China has removed some of the regulations and embraced more free market principles. Can it be argued that that has not helped the China people? That I don't know how many, maybe hundreds of thousands of Chinese people rising out of poverty because they now can start a business, or prices are cheaper because there's less regulations, less taxes, and stuff like that. How can you argue against that? In terms of India, reminds me of, you can look it up on YouTube. I think the whole thing is there. There was a documentary made by Milton Friedman. You may know who he is, a Nobel Prize winner. He actually was the PhD supervisor of Thomas Sowell. He has a series called Free to Choose. It's also a book, which I have. It's a very good series on all kinds of different economic policies. It's for the public. It's nice to watch. It's not dry. It's not like an economic textbook or anything like that. And he does all kinds of touring of the world, and he does do stuff on India, he does stuff on Japan, and that's worth checking out. Page 153 of the '09 edition, quote, "Even whole societies created for the express purpose of changing the relative sizes of the slices, communist countries, for example, have done much less to reduce poverty than countries whose policies have facilitated the creation of a larger pie." So often it's talked about this fixed pie. There's only so much wealth in society. And Sowell gets rid of that and says, no. We shouldn't be fighting over a fixed pie, which is, I see so much talk on TV. I try not to watch TV. It's a waste of time. I see it in the newspapers, I guess, and I used to see it on TV when I used to watch TV. There's fighting, taxpayers fighting over their own tax money from the politicians who take it away from them. And they're trying to get funding for, a charity or for more research or for some kind of advocacy group or something like that, right? And Sowell just says, no. I think we should be less arguing. We should be arguing less about what slice of the pie we get. And we should be arguing more about making the pie bigger. And so there's more and more for everyone, and that pie should be getting bigger and bigger. So that's the end of the economics section.